Hey everybody, it's time for Business Beat. I'm Sanford Cohen, past chair of the Prescott Chamber of Commerce,
I'm Sherry Heine, President and CEO of the Prescott Chamber of Commerce.
and we're here to bring you up to date on what's going on the Business Beat. So let's get it started with the excitement here as summer rolls around for Prescott. Frontier Days is a really big draw for Prescott, the Frontier Days Rodeo. It's the world's oldest rodeo, dating back to, I think it's 1888. Well, he hasn't been around quite that long, but we have J.C. Trujillo, the general manager of Frontier Days Rodeo, and he's going to come in and talk to us about the preparation for this year's Frontier Days. And I got a little money-making tip possibly for you a little later on.
Looking forward to hearing about that. Yeah.
And, it's obviously a busy time
It
at
is.
the Chamber.
It is.
So talk a little bit about how we're doing and our membership and our events and fun
Absolutely.
stuff like that.
Well, first of all, I want to talk a little bit about how successful National Tourism Week was for the Chamber and the whole community at large. Obviously it was in May 6th through the 12th. And we kicked off with an open house and ribbon cutting at the Chamber, partnered with the City of Prescott, and we launched the new Heritage Trail walking tour. And that was, we had a lot of folks there. But more importantly, I think what's important for everybody to know is that it is super busy in Prescott. And we have a lot of visitors coming into the area. At the Chamber office alone, we're averaging over 100 guests, out-of-towners, people that are looking for things to do each day. And we're open 7 days a week, so it's a pretty busy operation for us. I'm happy to report that from the hotel sales tax point of view, we're up 8% from last year. Yeah. So our numbers are just, it's exciting. A lot of folks are coming here. They're finding this area a high destination to come to.
Now, with that comes a problem. It's a good problem to have, but it is a problem nonetheless. And that is we're having a hard time filling the jobs that are available here in Prescott and in Yavapai County, to the point where the Northern Arizona Council of Governments, NACOG, recently went down to Anthem, to Northern Arizona University's Phoenix North Campus, and held a career fair called the Cool Air Career Fair.
Yes.
And the objective there was to recruit potential high-skilled employees from construction and manufacturing and law enforcement and other areas to Yavapai County, to Prescott. So the jury's still out as to whether or not there's going to be ultimately success along those lines. But we just want you to know that on the Business Beat, there are more jobs almost than there are job seekers right now, which is a really interesting time.
It is. With the state of Arizona's unemployment rate at 4.3%, that's what's causing this shortfall. And the Prescott Chamber and the city and NACOG and all of us are really working hard to fill these positions because it's important. We've been meeting with a lot of businesses and they're actually in a growth stage right now. So it's all great news, and it's a good problem to have.
And also on the tourism front, Governor Ducey, in finalizing his budget, had originally proposed $1 million cut to the tourism budget. And your Prescott Chamber of Commerce, along with a number of other professionals in the tourism and chamber industry, put some, I won't even say gentle pressure. We were pretty adamant about how important tourism is to our state, and especially to Prescott in particular. And so lo and behold, when the budget was officially approved, they did restore that $1 million cut in the tourism budget. So good job.
I think we have to thank our legislators on that too. I know they were advocating for us as well, so we appreciate that. Yeah, good stuff.
So now, a little bit later on, we're going to go through the event calendar because we do have some pretty awesome events coming up here in June. The biggest one, of course, is the Frontier Days Rodeo, and the Chamber is a big supporter of the rodeo. And what are we doing specifically to support the Frontier Days and the rodeo events?
Well, I mean, this is a huge draw for the area. The whole True West experience is a campaign that's going on with the tourism office, but more importantly, we've partnered with them to work on a hotel package deal, and we're also trying to work on bringing more buses of folks here. And we want to fill those days that are not filled already, which is that Sunday, Monday. And so those are the things that we're working on with the Frontier Days and the hotels in the area.
Very cool, because that is something that we're obviously looking at broadening the impact of tourism on the Prescott economy. And when we have those Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, which are normally the slower days for the hotel industry, this is a golden opportunity to bring tourists to our area and have them get to know us without adding to, let's say, the crowding or the clutter, let's say, of what goes on a typical weekend. But hey, those kinds of things, that's what pays the bills around here. So, we do love having people come and visit us.
And we're working with the group as well in regards to, they have some new restrictions, and we need to communicate that, especially with all the security issues that's been going on in Vegas and things like that. So we're partnered with them in that regard too, to have a safe rodeo as well.
Well, I know that one of the things that the Chamber is really excited about is their sponsorships and partnerships that have been going on. So do you feel comfortable talking about some of the new sponsorships and partnerships that we have created here?
Well, the one thing I'd like to share is what's been going on with the Chamber, and that can be part of it, but more importantly, we have been growing as a Chamber, as you know, because you hear the reports, but we're up to 870 members now. Our goal is to reach over 1,000, so if you know anyone that's interested, but more importantly, we've been bringing programming to our business community, and they're responding very well to it. And with what comes with that is businesses stepping in and getting more involved. The Chamber is a nonprofit organization, so the only way that we have funding is through membership and sponsorship. So sponsorship is growing. We are very proud of that, and so we'll just continue to work on that.
I was trying to draw it out of her, so I'll be more direct. Talk about our partnership with Baghdad and with Freeport-McMoRan.
Yes.
That is, this. You want to talk about out of the box thinking? This is like almost out of the county thinking, but Baghdad is in Yavapai County.
It is, and actually Freeport-McMoRan has been a huge supporter of the Chamber. Courthouse lighting, this is Prescott is their community. And so we reached out to them and we connected with the company and developed a partnership where we created the Baghdad Business Coalition, and we as the Prescott Chamber service that team. And so we're there on a monthly basis connecting with those folks and having those folks connect with our businesses here. So there's been a lot of relationships that are building from that, and it's been exciting. It's a beautiful drive. There's a lot of exciting scenery to go through, and they have some really cool restaurants there. One of your favorites.
Oh yes, the Baghdad Diner, where double meat patties are mandatory. How can you go wrong?
How can you go wrong? But there's a lot of. It's a great drive, and it's a cool thing. So the partnership works both ways, and they're actually going to be putting on a rodeo on June 2nd. So that's something that we've been helping them with and getting excited about.
Well, we've got a big rodeo to talk about, and that's the Frontier Days Rodeo. J.C. Trujillo, the general manager of Frontier Days, will be our guest when we return on the Business Beat. So don't go away. Well, it's summertime, and of course here in Prescott, that means it's time for the Frontier Days Rodeo. So what better time to have J.C. Trujillo with us. He's the general manager of Prescott Frontier Days Rodeo. He's a member of the Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame and a world champion bareback rider. So I got to say that you're like rodeo royalty around here, fella.
Well, thank you. It's always great to be able to represent the Prescott Frontier Days and be here in Prescott for sure.
Speaking of Frontier Days, the group that runs Frontier Days, because we're all about the business side of rodeo here, how does that group get together, and how do they formulate what goes on with the rodeo each year?
Well, how they organize that is they have we have 9 directors, and each one of those directors has a certain or maybe 1 or 2 areas: parking, security, buck and shoots, timed event shoots, corporate hospitality, worker hospitality. A lot of different every different little area, and they have underneath the directors they have assistant director underneath them, and then another assistant. So most all those areas are put together with actually, a 4 or 5 group of people in each one. And then of course the parking gets a lot bigger. But actually, the business part of our Prescott Frontier Days is run out of our office. The rodeo has 3 actual hired hands. Myself as a general manager, and we have an office manager and then an assistant. And we handle all the sponsorships, of course, booking all the specialty acts, all the stock. I organize, all the timed event stock, and of course we renew the contracts and have contracts with our stock contractor. And of course, the other business side is the sponsor side of it. That's a giant part of the Prescott Frontier Days, and that's actually, what keeps the blood running in the rodeo.
Well, now you are the world's oldest rodeo, so you didn't have all that when this thing first started. Where did the rodeo first begin, and when did the rodeo grounds become part of the Prescott Frontier Days?
Well, the rodeo began, of course, in 1888, and some business people in Prescott, businessmen, put that what they wanted to call a cowboy tournament, and they put money up. They had a rules, a set of rules. They charged a entry fee, creating the contest, and then they charged admission, which created a fan base, and that basically was what kind of planted the seed to what pro rodeo is today. All the original rule books and whatever were kind of patterned basically off of what Prescott wrote here, back years and years ago.
And then when did the rodeo grounds then become the headquarters for the Frontier Days Rodeo?
Well, I don't know the exact date, but the original rodeo wasn't set right there where it is right now. It was up, where up by Forbin Park.
Yeah.
That's what we called it when I was raised, here in Prescott, and that's where they tell me had the original Prescott Frontier Days Rodeo, and but it's been at the rodeo grounds for over 100 years. And 131 years of rodeo, that's got something to say about the business people in Prescott, that have kept this thing going when, it's a great tribute to all Prescott and all the Prescott business people that have kept this thing going for 131 years.
So now, on average, for a set, you usually perform like 7 nights, or there's 8 performances altogether?
We have 8 performances in 7 days. That's Saturday over the 4th of July weekend. We always have the afternoon performance and the night performance.
And then how many tickets will you guys sell over the course of the entire event?
Well, I wished I knew. Last year we had a great year last year. Our rodeo has grown in leaps and bounds in the last 15 years. We're adding more money. We're adding $125,000 now to the prize. But we sold last year about 32,000 tickets. Nice. And had a great year. And we're looking forward to having another great year this year. This new tech with buying tickets online, it's just gone crazy with the rodeo. And we have those bar scanners now. You don't even need a ticket, put it on your phone. So the world's oldest rodeo's got pretty modern, I'll tell you.
Well, and I have a little tip I'm going to give to the folks watching when I ask you this question. But there's been a recent change in the law where they've struck down the prohibition against sports gambling, and I don't know if Arizona's going to get into that or not. But could you see if Arizona did start doing sports gambling that there would be betting on rodeo events?
Oh, I sure can see that, because the national finals is in Las Vegas. I'm sure that's been going on already, but I can see it, because of the $1 million that's up at the national finals in Las Vegas. I can see that thing going kind of wild.
Well, I have a tip now for when this does happen, how you can make real easy money betting on rodeo. Always bet on the bull.
That's pretty good.
You're going to win 9 out of 10 times.
That's exactly right. Pretty close to 99%.
So now with the growth of the Frontier Days Rodeo, the rodeo is set up more not just with what happens at the grounds, but you guys are also involved in putting together the parade, and that's grown a lot. And then you have other events that are kind of spread all over the place.
Right. Of course, our main focus is always on the rodeo, and that's what brings everybody to town. But the parade, what a tradition the parade has been in Prescott. I grew up, I was born and raised here in Prescott, and to be able to still go downtown and see that parade, and I usually ride with the board of directors, and when that stagecoach turns and looks down Whiskey Row, it's just packed on both sides. It's darn sure a good feeling, I'll tell you. So we do the parade, and usually, 30, 40,000 people watch that parade. That's under our umbrella. And then we do a dance on Thursday, Friday, Saturday at the M&I Bank parking lot down there. And, that's a big money maker for the rodeo, and kind of just gives us another leg to stand on, kind of. And so, yeah, we have all those events. And of course, before the rodeo and after the rodeo, we've got all the vendors' spaces to go down there. We're opening 2 hours ahead of time each performance now, and we got a whole lot full of vendors and Western wear people and whatever this year.
Now the rodeo and the parade were both featured in the Steve McQueen movie Junior Bonner. Do you remember the filming of that? Or did you play a role in that?
I didn't. Those were in the days when I was actively rodeoing a lot, and of course the 4th of July was a big time, and still is a bigger time for the rodeo cowboy. So that year, I either drew a horse I didn't think I could win on here at Prescott, so I didn't even end up coming to the Prescott Rodeo that year. But unfortunately, I missed it that year. But I've got that tape, and I sure like to watch it once in a while. It's great.
Yeah.
Now, also, I had a chance to visit behind the scenes and notice that a lot of the cowboys, after they get thrown, and they walk right off and through the gate, and they get on the other side, and then that's when they start crumpling up. So I mean, that is part of the thing, right? Where you'd never let the audience feel like they laid a glove on you.
Well, I think that's just kind of the attitude of the rodeo cowboy. And we're fortunate enough in professional rodeo now to have the Justin Boot Company sponsor what we call the Justin Healer. And right behind the chutes, and we have usually 3 doctors, and physical therapy trainers, and we're pretty lucky to have all that now. Most professional sports, but when I was riding, there wasn't anything like that, and you kind of did your own deal. If you had a helmet, you taped it up or went and soaked it yourself. We didn't have anybody then. They started that just toward the end of my rodeo career.
What do you think, just briefly, we only have like a minute to go, but what do you think of the riders that are wearing helmets now? Is that just something that we just have to accept, or as an old-fashioned cowboy, do you feel like that they're maybe not staying true to the pioneer image of rodeo?
I kind of thought that at first, but I got 2 grandsons that are actively junior rodeoing now and riding steers and riding bulls. And in high school rodeos and junior high, it's a rule. You have to have a helmet. And it was a little bit out of the Western theme, you know. But now I'm a firm believer that those boys need to wear the helmets, and they only ask them to wear them, or they make them wear them now, just in the bull riding. And it's only a safety deal, you know, and it's something that just the times have changed, you know, and I sure support it for sure with all of those kids of mine for sure.
Well, of course, the Prescott Chamber is a big supporter of the Frontier Days Rodeo, and we really do appreciate you taking time from your busy schedule to come in and join us here on the Business Beat. We wish you another great, successful rodeo, which, you know, I know will happen, and thank goodness for old cowboys like you that keep that dream alive.
Well, thank you. And you know, it's because of the chamber and of course the city that owns the rodeo grounds, all their support, and of course all the local business people make this rodeo a success. And we're very thankful for the whole thing, and it's going to be another big rodeo.
Terrific. J.C. Trujillo, General Manager, Prescott Frontier Days Rodeo. We will be right back on the Business Beat. Don't go away. Welcome back to the Business Beat, and of course it is summertime, and we've heard all about the Frontier Days Rodeo, but there's a lot more going on than just the Frontier Days Rodeo, although that's a really big deal.
Yeah,
We've
is.
got a really big deal going on here in June.
We sure do. I'm going to kind of go through the whole line of what's going on because there's a lot, and a lot of things to celebrate. First of all, we have the historical walking tours that are going on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays on most weekends, except for when there's big events on the Yavapai County Courthouse Plaza. Sorry, I've got a new title for it, so I have to call it properly. So those walking tours start at 10 a.m. at the Chamber office. So if you're interested in a 90-minute tour to learn about our history, feel free to come down to the office, and we'll have tour guides available to take you on that tour. We usually average around 25 to 30 folks taking those tours, so it's become very popular. And I tell you what, even though you may live here or think you know all the history, I guarantee you'll learn something new about it every time you take that tour. You might learn about Mike the dog or something like that. He exists.
Of course.
One thing I want to share is we're going to be kicking off Territorial Days on June 9th and 10th, Saturday and Sunday. The hours are 9 to 5 on Saturday and 9 to 3 on Sunday. And that will be one of the art fairs that the Chamber hosts. It's usually very popular. Folks love it, and there's a lot of activities that go on around that, but that's one that we like to highlight. In between that, we have of course, the world's oldest rodeo, Quad City Mixer, and that is a lot of fun. That's everyone and their brother and cowboy and son that attend that event, and it's a great time. You know, we're at the Prescott Frontier Days, and we just enjoy networking and mixing and connecting with everyone from all over the Quad Cities. And that's scheduled for Thursday, June 21st, and it is from 5 p.m. to 6:30. And I mean, last year it was huge. And so we enjoy partnering with that and sharing that particular event. And then we have, and this is the drum roll, the 37th Annual Prescott Bluegrass Festival. And I am so excited. I know you are too, but this is presented by Lamb Chevrolet, and this particular festival is free. And it's one of the only bluegrass festivals that is free in North America, is what I'm told. And we have a lineup this year that is getting everyone's attention. Our headliner band is Ryan Shoup and the Rubber Band. But on Sunday, we were able to connect with and secure Tom Paxton and the Don Juans. And Tom Paxton, if you don't know, is a Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award winner. And this is hitting news all over the state. People love this. They're very excited about it. And we are too. And so that is going to be an excellent way to kick off the Bluegrass Festival, I think. And that's scheduled for Saturday, June 23rd and 24th. On Saturday, it's from 9:45 to 6 p.m. Then we give you an hour for dinner, and you can go explore some of our restaurants downtown. And then we come back at 7 o'clock, from 7 to 9 for the concert. And that's when Ryan Shoup and his team will be playing. And then on Sunday, June 24th, we start at 10:45 a.m. and we end at 3. And you're going to have Tom Paxton playing in the afternoon.
That's really great.
So it's really, we couldn't be more thrilled.
Yeah.
And really all you have to do is bring your chairs, secure your space, and just really enjoy that time.
Yeah, people do get there early though, so you want to mark your territory.
Ooh, pretty good there. Oh, wow. Huh. Besides the tip on the bets and
you bet on the bull every time. It's just easy peasy.
Absolutely.
So, it's a busy summer, as it usually is here in Prescott, but we've also got, the 4th of July coming up, and there is some concern about fireworks and the fire danger in town. So as of the time of this taping, we really don't know whether or not those plans are going to go forward.
Yeah.
But one thing we can tell you on behalf of the Chamber and of all citizens in Prescott and Yavapai County that it pays to be very wise when it comes to the use of fire. We saw a number of incidents early on in the summer, the Viewpoint fire, more recently the Bluff fire in Walker, and I can tell you that these are human caused, and so it's up to humans to get in there and control themselves. So fire ban is a fire ban. It just means just don't do it. Don't light the spark, because we want to keep everybody coming to Prescott and enjoying this beautiful mile-high climate all summer long. And we can't do that if there's smoke in the air. So appreciate you being cautious as you make your way through until hopefully the monsoon comes.
Right.
Our rainy season starts kind of in July, so hopefully we will have gotten some rain by now, but hopefully we'll get some later in the summer.
Absolutely. And the one thing I'd like to say, just because I'm new to the state and where I came from, we didn't have all these fires like this to this extent, is make sure you understand how to make your home safe and to understand where to get the correct information. Because there's a lot, on social media, you'll find a lot of information that may be misleading. And so there's some official sites that we can go to. The Yavapai County Emergency Management
Yep.
is probably the best way to get the real information.
But as far as we're concerned, our time is up. So we want to thank J.C. Trujillo from Prescott Frontier Days for joining us. And we'll see you again soon on
The Business Beat.